Hi, let's get started with Inside a Router Part 1. So what is the agenda? We will be learning about the delivery and the forwarding techniques. Now what is the concept of delivery? As we all know, a router is a device that is used for sending packets between two entities, let's say A and B. Now, in order to send packets between the two hosts, there are several functionalities. Number one is delivery. Number two is forwarding. And number three is routing. Now, what is the meaning of delivery? Delivery basically takes care of the packets and handles the packets by the underlying physical network under the supervision of the network layer. So this is the functionality of a router. The first functionality is delivery. Next is the forwarding. Forwarding means how the packets are actually delivered to the destination. So this is forwarding. And routing basically helps in forwarding. By creating the routing table, which includes the destination and the next hop. Now there are two types of delivery. One is known as a direct delivery and the other one is known as the indirect delivery. Direct delivery is there when the destination host is on the same network as the source. Let's say we have a network here. Let's say this is network 1 and there is a host A, there is a host B. There is a router here. This router is connected to the two hosts. Now, if the packet is delivered from host A to host B via this router, then it is known as the direct delivery because the two hosts are in the same network. Now, for indirect delivery, the destination host may be on a different network as compared to the source host. Let's say we have network 1 and another network 2. There is a source host A and there is a destination host B. Let's say we have a router here, R1. We have another router here, R2. These two are connected through some network. Now, if packet has to be delivered from host A, it has to go to its own router. From this router, it has to be delivered to the router of the other network and finally to the destination. So this is known as the indirect delivery. Let us look at one example. Here, there are two hosts. Let's say it is host A and host B. This is network 1. As said, the host A gets the packet and it transfers it and forwards it to host B. From here, it can transfer it to the router R and from the router to the rest of the internet. So this is the direct delivery part. Regarding the indirect delivery, if there is a host A here and another host B. So here we have a network 1. Through the network 1, the host A delivers the data to the router and from the router to another network and finally to host B. So this is an example of indirect delivery. Now forwarding techniques. As we know, forwarding means how the packets are finally delivered to the destination host. There are several forwarding techniques which we are going to learn here. Among the forwarding techniques, we have the next hop method and the route method. In the next hop method, we will learn that the routing table basically consists of the next node through which the packets will be delivered from the host A, that is the source node, to the destination node through other nodes of the network. And in the route method, instead of the next hop, the entire route from the source to the destination will be given. So let's see it with the help of an example. Let's say we have a host here in one network and host B in another network, and there are two routers R1 connected to the network of host A and router R2 which is connected to the network of host B, and these two routers are connected by another network here. Let's see what will be the routing table for the two. So routing tables based on route method and routing tables based on next hop method will be shown here side by side. So for host A, routing table should be like this. See, for here, the destination is host B. So for the route method, entire route should be given. So entire route should be from host A, it should go to R1, then it should go to R2 and finally to host B. But for the next hop method, instead of giving the entire route, the destination is host B, and what should be the route? Route should be the next hop or the next leg of the route, which is R1. So R1 will be placed here. Now let us look at the routing table for R1. What should be the routing table for R1? As before, for the route method, it should be destination should be host B and the route should be R2 and then host B. For the next hop method, the destination should be host B, but the route should be only R2. Finally, the routing table for R2 will be like this. For the route method, it should be destination should be host B and the route should be host B because R2 is directly connected to host B through the network. For the next hop method also, this should be the same thing, that is destination is host B and the route is also host B because the next hop is the host B. Let us now understand the network specific method of forwarding technique. In network specific method, instead of the particular host, the particular network will be given in the routing table like this. If we have a host S, which is the source node, then if the destination is any of the hosts like A, B, C or D, the routing table will not indicate their presence. Rather, the network N2 to which all these hosts are connected to will be given as the destination. And the next hop should be R1 because R1 is the router through which this source node S connected to network N1 will be connected to network N2. Let us now look at host specific method. In host specific method, as before, we have the source node S connected to network N1. This network N1 is then connected to router R1. Router R1 in turn is connected to network N2, and in network N2 there are several hosts like A, B, C and D. Let's look at the routing table. So the routing table for host S based on the host specific method will be given like this. So the destination should be any of the nodes that are connected to network N2. So it can be A, B, C or D. And what should be the next hop? Next hop is basically the router R1 through which it should be connected to the network N2. So we give here the next hop as R1. Next is a default method, which is another method. Here you see here there is a host A which is connected to a network. Now this network has two routers R1 and R2. If host A wants to send packets to any of the hosts in network N2, then it should be routed through R1. For all other hosts in the rest of the internet, it can be routed through R2. So the routing table for host A will be very much simplified. Like the destination, if it is N2, N2 means this network N2, to the network N2, large number of hosts may be connected. So the destination is N2 and the next hop will be given as R1. And for any other, the next hop should be R2. So this is known as the default method, and it is a very simplified method. To summarize, in this video, we have learned what is there inside a router. Mainly, we have concentrated on delivery mechanism. We have touched upon direct delivery and indirect delivery. And we have looked into some of the forwarding techniques like next hop method, then route method, after that host specific method, network specific method, and last but not the least, the default method. Thank you.